2, 1.
7 things you probably didn't know you need to know. I'm Jamie East, and this is the Smart 7.
Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, the 30th of June, and it's International Asteroid Day. And a big happy birthday to Mike Tyson, Cheryl Cole, Michael Phelps, and James Martin. As Russia continued to strike Ukraine with missiles, killing 3 and wounding 5 in Mykolaiv on Wednesday, NATO's summit officially began in Madrid. They heard from Ukrainian President Zelensky, who warned that Russia are trying to redefine the world order and that Ukraine wouldn't be their last stop. In response to Russian aggression, NATO's redefined its strategy, as Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg explained.
We will agree a new strategic concept, the Madrid strategic concept, that will be the blueprint for NATO in a more dangerous and unpredictable world.
That new security posture will mean continued support for Kyiv, the expansion of NATO with the addition of Finland and Sweden, and increased spending on military budgets and a scaling up of troops on NATO's borders. Joe Biden was attending and he met face-to-face with Turkish President Erdogan to thank Turkey for agreeing to drop its objections to the NATO expansion.
I want to particularly thank you for what you did putting together the situation with regard to Finland and Sweden and all the incredible work you're doing to try to get the grain out of Ukraine and Russia. I mean, you're doing a great job. I just want to thank you.
As Boris Johnson continues his world tour with a stop at the NATO summit in Madrid, he missed Wednesday's Prime Minister's question time. Deputy PM Dominic Raab stepped up to face Labour's Deputy Leader Angela Rayner. And with the Tories still smarting from the by-election defeats, Dominic went on the attack over the rail strikes and the picket lines.
Where was the Right Honourable Lady when the comrades were on the picket line last Thursday? Where was she when the Labour front bench were joining them rather than standing up for the public? She was at the Glyndebourne Music Festival, sipping champagne, listening to opera. Champagne socialism is back in the Labour Party.
Angela wasn't getting distracted, however, and had some serious questions about what exactly the government's doing to deal with the ongoing cost of living crisis.
It shows how out of touch this government is, Mr. Speaker, but at this rate, by 2030, 1 million more people will be using food banks. How many more working people will be pushed into poverty by his Prime Minister before he says enough is enough?
Meanwhile, somewhere in Madrid, Boris was sharing some deep thoughts with CBS News about the Ukraine conflict.
If Putin was a woman, which he obviously isn't, but if he were, I really don't think he would have embarked on a crazy macho war of invasion and violence in the way that he had.
Wednesday saw singer R. Kelly sentenced to 30 years in prison for racketeering and sex trafficking. He'd been found guilty in September of last year, and the US District Court Judge Ann Donnelly described how he used sex as a weapon to enslave his victims. US Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, spoke outside the court.
R. Kelly is a predator, and as a result of our prosecution, he'll serve a long jail sentence for his crimes. With the aid of his fame, his money, and most importantly, his inner circle, R. Kelly preyed upon children and young women for his own sexual gratification for decades.
Kelly still faces more charges in Chicago, Illinois and Minnesota, and Steve Francis from Homeland Security Investigations says a message is being sent.
Today's sentencing sends a clear message that no amount of money or fame is enough to evade justice. Money, power, and fame will not buy you immunity in the United States, and the United States government will hold you accountable for any atrocities you commit.
The terrorist attacks on Paris, culminating in a hostage situation at the Bataclan Theatre, left 130 people dead and hundreds more injured. For the last 9 months, a trial of the one surviving attacker and 19 others has been ongoing in a Paris courtroom. Finally, on Wednesday night, the verdicts were read out, and Salah Abdeslam was given a full life prison term. All but one of his fellow conspirators were also found guilty. Zoe Alexander, whose brother died in the attack, talked to ITV about speaking to one of the accused in court.
Because his brother was also killed on the same night in a very violent and brutal death, his brother who he loved dearly. So in some sense we're walking the same path, just different sides of it.
Still to come on the Smart 7, Emma and Andy get the boot at Wimbledon, and George and Julia are back in a rom-com. Right after this. Welcome back. 3,
Wimbledon Day 3 saw a mixed set of results for the Brits. Novak Djokovic marched on, winning his second round game in straight sets against Australia's Thanasi Kokkinakis. And British number 1 Cameron Norrie had to go 5 sets to secure a win over his Spanish opponent Jaume Munar. But Andy Murray struggled against American John Isner and lost 3 sets to 1 on centre court. And the US Open winner Emma Raducanu crashed out in the second round, losing 6-3, 6-3 to Frances Caroline Garcia.
Challenge ends in the second round.
The second volume of Stranger Things Season 4 drops on Friday on Netflix, and after what seems like months of teasers, fans will finally get to see what happens. Maya Hawke, daughter of Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman, plays Robin Buckley in the show, and she popped up on The Tonight Show where Jimmy Fallon really wanted to get some spoilers. But Maya's worked out a pretty neat way to avoid giving too much away.
Well, the thing is, we filmed them a long time ago now. It takes a long time for them to put it together.
Sure.
And so I know that I know what happens. But I don't remember exactly. I haven't seen them yet, and I don't remember exactly. But that's why I'm excited, because I'm so excited to see how it all wraps up.
It's been 20 years since she's been in a rom-com, and it's been 6 years since she worked with George Clooney, but Julia Roberts is back on screen with her bestie. The Oscar-winning duo team up for Ticket to Paradise, a romantic comedy from the producers of Mamma Mia. They play a divorced couple reunited for their daughter's wedding in Bali, but things don't go to plan. It hits cinemas this October.
I won't let her throw her life away. We need to trick her into dumping him. As much as this will pain us both, we have to call a truce to make this work.
We have to be in lockstep.
Hey! Did you make a pact to not murder each other until you murder me first?
We are here for you, my love.
Yes, we're in lockstep.
Yes.
This has been The Smart 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.